Let me tell you why you're here.
I've seen things.
Oh my god.
Whoa, yeah! You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Guaranteed to jack you up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is your host, Lamar Stays Weird, coming to you out of sight, out of mind once again. I hope you all know you have that X Factor and you are just so fucking special. I hope you all know that and feel that when I say you are special. You should not accept a life that you do not deserve.
All right. I'm gonna stop talking like that. But yes, what is up, my dudes? It's your host, Lamar Stays Weird, coming to you out of sight, out of mind once again. All right. We are gonna be talking about the movie X, and I mean it when I say this is one of my favorite recent horror films, man. I love it. There's so much going on in this movie that a lot of people would think there's not. It is like the onion from Shrek, man. There are so many layers to this movie. You just have to deep dive it. You could watch it and simply just enjoy it in a very simple, turning off your brain kind of way. Or if you're somebody who likes to really analyze movies, that's the part that tickles your fancy. This movie, you could do exactly that. There is so much. And every time I rewatch this movie, there is something else I haven't noticed and I pick up on, and I love it. I don't know how many times I've seen this movie now. I think ever since it came out, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 times, possibly. I would say it's very, very close to that number. Now, if you guys haven't seen this film, I'm going to give you a little rundown, and I really think you should watch it. This is a banger of a movie from A24. A24, man, I believe is carrying the movie industry. I know it sounds pretentious at this point when people say, "Oh, I love A24 films." I I I can't help it. I do. I'm subscribed to A24, their membership. It's great. They know what they're doing. They hire the right people. They get all these independent stories out. They make great movies. They have earned the reputation that they have right now, and I just hope they keep succeeding, man. They just get bigger and bigger, putting out way more movies. It's phenomenal. I fully support A24 all the way. It would be awesome to work with them. That's kind of a dream now to just do something with A24. But that's going off tangent. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna talk about it. This movie came out in 2022, man. It was in production around the time the quarantine was going down, and during that time, Ty West, being the genius for these movies, the brain, while he was in quarantine, he wrote the sequel, and they even shot these back to back, and they did a great job. I still have to rewatch Pearl again to get my feelings on it because I was expecting something else. But we're also going to be looking forward to Maxine, which is coming out later this year, which I cannot wait to see. But here we go. We're going to talk about the summary real quick. This movie takes place in 1979. It's supposed to be the golden age of the porn industry. Back when porn could do really good numbers, like box office numbers. They actually had theatrical releases, man. It's kind of hard to believe it, telling some people that nowadays who didn't know all that and probably thought, wow, I can't believe porn was in movie theaters. It's like, yeah, man, they were out there and they were doing numbers. They were doing pretty good numbers. I don't know any off the bat that I could look up and just give you a rundown of how much they probably made. But going back to it, this movie is about a group who want to set out and make their own porno. They want a home release. They're trying to get ahead and tackle the home film market. They're wanting to put out tapes. They want to sell people these things. If they could get into the movie theaters, they definitely would, but all they're trying to do is chase the American dream, put out a good, dirty movie, and make some money so they can all live comfortably. That's all they're trying to do. Sex sells, man, and we all know that. To this day, sex sells. Everything is sexy. It's supposed to be sexy. We are all sexy bitches. But they set out on a road trip to go to Texas, film this movie, and like most independent filmmakers, they're on a budget and they're trying to make the best of what they can. So they don't have a permit to film this movie anywhere. And trust me, that's a big thing. A lot of people find loopholes to do this type of thing. they found a farmer who's able to rent out some space that they can use to, I guess, stay the night. They didn't tell them their true intentions, so they don't know that they're there to film a movie, but they'll find out soon enough. But while they're there, the host is this elderly couple, and they start to catch on the true motives of the group being there, and they're not taking kindly to it one bit. So it causes this tension, and what do you know? It becomes a fight to the death, trying to make it out alive and go back to the American dream. Now, this movie is very inspired by Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The vibes are super similar. Everything is very reminiscent. Some of the angles, just the story, it taking place in Texas, all of that. I think it's a really good homage. To me, I like this movie way more than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the first one is really good. I have some issues with the third act because it's just a fuck ton of screaming. And man, I could get a headache watching that movie. I'm not going to lie. But it doesn't make the movie any less great. It is a really, really good movie. It's not a movie I can watch all the time because of all the screaming. But I digress. Main person that we're going to be following in this movie is Mia Goth's character, Maxine. Maxine is just that girl that really wants to be a star. She wants the whole world to know her name. She wants to be a sex symbol. And some of you may know Mia Goth from the movies Infinity Pool. She was in the remake of Suspiria. Those are the movies I've seen her in. I found Mia Goth through this movie, and she is such a babe. I love Mia Goth. She is great. She is an incredible actress. She is 100% a new Scream Queen. Then we have Martin Henderson. He plays Wayne, which is supposed to be Maxine's fiance. Also the director, writer, producer of this porno that they're filming. It is called The Farmer's Daughter. And then we have a couple who's acting in it as well. We got Bobby Lynn, played by the wonderful Brittany Snow. She puts on a great performance. I love her southern accent in this movie. She is from Prom Night, which the original starred Jamie Lee Curtis. I actually did like the Prom Night remake movie. I thought it wasn't too bad. It was early 2000s. And then she was also in Would You Rather, another pretty gnarly movie that I saw on Netflix. So I think that's probably one of the places you could check it out. Would You Rather is pretty good. She is accompanied by her sometimes boyfriend, Jackson. Jackson is played by Kid Cudi. And behind the scenes, the crew that we got going on right now is RJ. RJ is played by Owen Campbell. He's from Super Dark Times, the 2017 film. And his girlfriend, everybody knows, Lorraine. Lorraine is played by Jenna Ortega. I shouldn't really have to tell you where the hell she's from, but she is big. She is really big right now. I'm going to emphasize that because somebody pointed it out on my last episode. I'm going to say it. She is big. She is humongo. She is set to wombo her star power right now. She is a hot commodity in Hollywood. But she is from Wednesday and the recent Scream movies. A great cast, a lot of really good chemistry going on here. I haven't found too many people who don't like this movie. Everyone that I've talked to about it likes it. If you guys remember my last guest, John, he did not enjoy this movie too much, but I think it's mainly because he didn't have a very good theater experience. He told me how when he went to go watch it, one of the things that stood out to him in the movie was that it was so sexy. There was just this dude who was sitting by himself recording the sex scenes. Yeah, man, piracy is a thing, and being pretty creepy like that in public is not a-okay. Please do not do that. All right, people go to the movie theaters to enjoy movies, not to be around people like that who talk during movies, have their phones out, record stuff, specifically record sex scenes. That is super not bueno, okay? If you are any of these people, please stop what the fuck you are doing because you're ruining the experience for everyone else, man. But to give a little bit of how much love this movie has, I'm going to let you guys know what the ratings are. I know a lot of people know IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. Those are kind of the main two general people kind of look at. I look at them here and there. I try not to let them sway my opinion too much because, of course, it can differ. But it's always nice to kind of see some ratings. First, we have IMDb. This movie is sitting at a 6.6, which I guess you could say pretty good. I would say it's probably accurate. For me, it's higher. I like it. I think it's I think 4.5 out of 5 maybe. It's really high up there for me. I think it's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. But, you know, I'm not everyone. Everyone's not me. We're all ourselves, and that's how it is. On the Rotten Tomatoes side of things, we have, for the critics, 94%. I don't always agree with the critics, but you know what? Today, it seems like I do. So yeah, look at that. You get surprised every now and then. And then we have the audience score, which I think the audience, I could definitely agree with as well. 75%. It's pretty damn good. And for a horror movie, these numbers are pretty fucking good together. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get straight into the movie. This is going to be the spoilery part. So from here on out, spoilers. So if you guys don't want to know anything, go watch the movie, come back and watch it. Or if you do want to listen to my lovely voice talking about all the sexiness that this movie just
Oozes. Then please, by all means, continue to listen and keep your ears open.
Now, I want to talk about something that is not directly, but kind of indirectly related to the movie, the title, X. A lot of people see it, and what's your first thought? I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. What's your first thought when you see X on a movie? You think it's porn, right? Right? Tits, ass, more tits and ass, and some dong. It's all there, baby. All of it is just out for the good Lord to see, okay? Now, we got to think about why that is. I want to give you guys a little bit of a history on the MPA ratings of movies, because it turns out, as somebody who worked in a movie theater, a lot of people do not know these types of ratings, and you would think it's common sense, but hey, at home, we get to police ourselves however we want. Everybody's views are different. I got to watch a lot of stuff growing up I probably shouldn't have watched, but you know what? I think I turned out pretty A-okay. But let's start with it. We're going to start from the bottom and work to the top. So, G ratings is for the general audience. Anybody could go for that. Usually that's a lot of kid movies. Then we got PG movies, which is another good chunk of animated movies. You got parental guidance suggested. That's what that means, PG. And then everybody knows PG-13. Parents are strongly cautioned to be with a minor at this movie. So if you're at the box office and somebody comes up, they're like 12 years old or under, and they want to watch a PG-13 movie by themselves, nah, get out of my line, my guy. You are a child. I should not be speaking to you about a PG-13 movie. But at home, would I care if you watch one? Not at all. I would be like, yo, I have better recommendations for you to watch. And then we have the rated R, which a lot of production and distributors fear. They do not like the rated R because it limits the people that can watch it. That's why PG-13 horror movies are big. It's because everyone can come watch it. They want as much money as they can. Just because a movie's PG-13 doesn't mean it won't be good, but you kind of know what you're in for and kind of limiting your expectations. So the rated R is for no one under 17. 17 and up, you need to have an ID or you need to have a parent or guardian with you. And working at a movie theater, oh my God, the amount of teenagers I had to turn away and they just look at me like I'm some old fart, when it's like, bro, I'm just slightly older than you, okay? I could not give two fucks that you want to go watch this movie. I would probably recommend you to watch this fucking movie because it is awesome and I want you to have a good experience. But there's a good chance if you got in there, and a lot of the times, you're going to act like a fucking idiot and ruin it for everyone else. And then we have the NC-17. Nobody under 17. You have to be 17 and up with an ID. If you don't have one, if you're not that age, you cannot get in at all. And now, an interesting factor about NC-17, this replaced the X rating back in 1990. And that was because the MPA did not copyright the X rating. So back then, X rating just meant 17 and up. That's it. But porn started to use it because it's adult content, no kids allowed. Porn was able to use it because it had no copyright. And in doing so, the public just got used to porn being X-rated. So now you couldn't have movies that were X-rated because people would think it's porn. It would impact the box office returns. And then the next thing you know, NC-17 was a thing. They copyrighted that. And now the porn industry just owns X. And it makes a lot of sense for this movie to be called X. There's a little cinema history for you. But I do want to give this one story because Like, I don't want to be that person that just says kids are dumb, but kids can be dumb. I used to be dumb, okay? I'm still kind of dumb. I'm in my 20s and I'm kind of dumb. So, same thing goes for the rest of you guys that are younger and think you know everything. Not true. You think you do, you don't. And when you get older, you realize how much you really didn't know. So, when I worked at the movie theater, we would have these classic horror movie showings. And of course, a lot of them rated R. A lot of the good older ones are rated R. You can't go see. And unfortunately, I had to turn people away, but I would want them to see it because it is an experience to see classic horror movies in the theater. It is something I wish I was there when they originally came out in the 70s, 80s. I wish I could have experienced such a thing like that, but I couldn't. But you know what? One day my heart felt a little bigger than normal, and it was a group of teenagers, and I was like, "All right, look, I don't mind if you go in there. You can. That's perfectly a-okay. But do not cause a scene." I said, "Or we will have to kick you out. Legally, you are not allowed to be there. Legally, I shouldn't let you in. But I'm the cool movie theater guy, and I'm in the box office. You're in my box." And all right, hold on. Okay, I'm all right. I didn't mean it that way, but all right. I'm the box office guy. I control who gets in, so I let them slide. And then, not even 2 minutes later, I hear on the radio that there is a complaint coming from the theater, and I automatically knew what it was. So I swapped places with somebody, let them take over my box and touch all up in my box and touch my stuff. And I go to the movie theater because I know I'm going to have to kick these people out. I'm hoping it's not them, but I go in there and it's them. And it's this whole debacle that these people were in the wrong seat. There was a couple and some friends that had those seats, and all the little teenagers were saying, "Yo, but we're sitting here like this is ours and stuff." Me knowing full well, guys, you got to get out. You need to go. And I had to kick them out, and they got a bit hog wild with it and started to be slightly confrontational. It's like, "Look, nope, you got to go. You got to get out. No refunds, no nothing. Leave. Have a good day. Bye-bye." And then I'm thinking to myself, do you know how privileged you are? I just let you into a rated R movie, to a lifetime experience of watching a classic horror movie in a movie theater with your friends on a weekend. I wish I had that experience when I was younger, where I met somebody as cool as I was and just let us go. And the only warning was, hey, if somebody says, "That's my seat," get up, move. Just stay out of the way. Don't cause a problem. Enjoy the movie. Make a core memory. Nope. They just go in and do the exact opposite of everything I said. And from that point on, I stopped letting people slide. If you were underage and there was a movie that you really wanted to see, you know what? No. You ain't got a parent? No. You don't have an ID? No. Not getting in? Nada, man. So I became that guy. You ruin it for everybody, you know? So please, don't be those people. If you happen to get lucky breaks like that, don't, if they give you an inch, don't take a mile, man. All right, just deal with what you got, count your blessings, and move forward. Have fun. That's all I want you to do. That's all I want anybody to do. Just don't bug people. Now, I didn't mean to go on a complete rant, but it's just, talking about the rating system, this movie being called what it is because of the rating system and the subject matter that is in there, I had to talk about it. Why not? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about my own experiences and movies because I have indeed seen things on the screen, off the screen. All right. But now this movie does some, since we're going to get right into it, this movie does some very clever things. I really love this movie, man. And one thing I really appreciated that you don't see a whole lot in horror movies was the fact everyone was likable. The main core group was very likable. Nothing was wrong with anyone. And another thing, this is probably the most open-minded group I've seen in a horror movie. They were very sex positive. They were all okay. One of them wasn't even into sex like that. Jenna Ortega's character, Lorraine. She's a bit of a church girl, kind of quiet. She's just there helping her boyfriend make a movie. That's it. She finds out what it is and she calls it smut, which is very understandable. She would say such a thing like that. Of course, not great, but she doesn't treat the people badly. She still does the job, and it's okay for people not to agree all the time. Perfectly a-okay, but she was respectful. You have Wayne, who is the director, producer. He's not creepy at all or anything like you would expect him to be. Like with these other girls around or nothing. No, he's just trying to make a living, man. He's trying to get out. I guess he was running a strip club, saved that, and is putting it into making a movie. RJ, I believe he just graduated film school. He wants to make a good movie, a good, dirty movie. He wants to make it cinematic. He wants it to have a bit of a meaning, a story. He wants it to look nice and have really good editing. It's just a passion project for this guy. And I'm not going to lie, I said this when I was in film school. I would love to work on a porno. I would do it at least once. I mean, why not? It's an experience. But then the more I look into it, I don't know. It's like I don't know if I want to. Would I help one time? Yeah, because it's an experience. But it still hasn't happened yet. Never say never. Something may come of it one day. One day you guys are gonna be browsing Pornhub or something, and you're gonna, if you're one of those guys, is like, you know what? I want to know who is behind the scenes on this. I really want to know who worked the sound, who had the camera, or they did some of the editing. I want to know who did that. And then you click on the little credits button right underneath. Believe it or not, there probably is one. I don't know 100%. But I'm sure if you wanted to know more about the production value of a video that you're watching, you may find my name right there. Lamar Stays Weird right there, doing so-and-so. There we go. I'm not going to be an actor, but, it'd be kind of cool. You just say, yo, I fucking know that guy. I know him from I've Seen Things, the podcast that I tell all my friends about. Fuck yeah, man. That is so sick. Now I'm going to tell more people about this video that he worked on. That'd be great. That'd help me out. That'd help you guys out. I don't know. but we're going to go back to the characters. We got Bobby Lynn. Bobby Lynn's really cool. Southern gal. She's just pretty as can be. Want to take care of herself. She just wants to chase the American dream. Get a big house. Or get a pretty nice house. Get a pool. Just relax. She wants to live the chill life. And Jackson just, he's a veteran. He was in Vietnam. Honestly, I think he's just glad to be home. He's just trying to chill with his lady and have a good time. He's super chill. He's probably one of the nicer people in the movie. They're all nice. And I love that this, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but in horror movies or movies in general, I don't like gratuitous nudity. Mainly because I believe everyone knows how the movie industry can be. The movie industry is full of creeps, man. We're taking it down a serious point right now. All right, so I'm gonna sit you on my knee right now, and I'm gonna hit you with a cold water. Okay, I'm gonna splash you in the face a little bit. I don't like gratuitous nudity because I feel like it's just people in power taking advantage. They're just trying to see some stuff, and it makes me think about how behind the scenes for castings and stuff, casting calls where they do that type of thing where it's like, okay, I want to see body. What do you got? Do you have the body for this movie? And it's gross. I don't like any of that. I think it's not okay. And I like that nowadays we are taking the topic of sex way more serious, but then also dialing it back to where it's not such a serious thing as well. It's kind of like it's a gray thing. Like, sex is perfectly okay. People being sexy, perfectly okay. People wanting to show off themselves, be confident, I love that. Do what you want to do, whatever makes you comfortable. Just don't make anybody else uncomfortable, okay? Like, we have things like intimacy coordinators now. That was not a thing back in the day. Now they are. Now you got people who help actors feel comfortable during sex scenes, whether it be showing parts of themselves or not at all, or just interacting during a sex scene and trying to make sure there's no anxiety, there's no creepy tension at all, which I feel like there's a good number of times we know actors that are respectful because sometimes the co-stars will talk about it. And that's really great to highlight that good behavior and definitely highlight the bad behavior. It should be talked about a lot more, but we know in Hollywood, it's very cliquey. You got to be careful of who you talk about because you may or may not get work ever again. It's a whole thing. Everybody knows everything that happened with Harvey Weinstein and all that creepy shit that happened. So that's why I don't enjoy gratuitous nudity. I want it to have a point. In this movie, there's plenty of nudity, honestly, but it has a point because that is the story. It is the story about porn stars and wanting to make some money and to just live comfortably. That's all they want to do. They don't want to hurt nobody. They don't want to take advantage of people or anything else. They just want to live free and love free. And for 79, these people were pretty open-minded. There's an interracial couple here. They're perfectly okay with it. Nobody's saying anything. There's no sort of racial tension, which is nice. I'm glad I didn't have to see any of that. They're talking about how it's, gay, straight, interracial. Like, it doesn't matter. They literally say it's all disco. All right, that's awesome. They're accepting about everyone. They don't care. They just want people to be people and have fun. And you don't get that a lot in horror movies. So they're all good people. The only thing that kind of happens that seems a little shitty, kind of, sort of, was this one scenario. And it also leads into another topic. I feel like the way this movie makes you feel while watching it, it's supposed to. Okay? Because the main problem going on right now in this movie, once it starts to take that turn, because most of it, half of this movie is the premise alone of the porn stars wanting to go make a good, dirty movie. It is a meta moment. This movie actually gets meta here and there, which is really nice. It does it in a nice, charming way. Because the first half of the movie is just these filmmakers trying to go make a porno. I was getting, like, Boogie Nights vibes, So once they've gotten to Texas, they rented the place. The old people are aware that they're staying there. They're not too happy about more than one person just staying there, but they get paid a little extra money. They're, I guess, dealing with it. But it's only whenever they get discovered about what they're doing does everything start to take a turn. The old people don't like what's going on. And there's a reason for that. It's because they are old. They're no longer sexually desirable. They don't have their whole lives ahead of them anymore. They're not youthful with winds in their sails and the world at their feet. They don't have that anymore. So they're envious. And the thing is, it's super existential that you get to see that. And we find out they don't even have sex anymore. They don't make love as a married couple and haven't for a while because Howard, the husband, he's too old. He's served in wars, World War I and II. He's been around the block. He's an old man. He's tired. And he worries about his heart, that his heart probably can't handle it. So he doesn't get to make his wife feel desirable anymore. And the thing is, being desired, that is something we all want. People can say that, but this movie, I feel like its overall theme is insecurity. Okay? Everyone wants to feel sexy. You don't have to be old to not feel sexy. Yes, you will probably get less desirable as you get older, unless that's kind of your thing. And if you're out here loving some grandmas and grandpas, hey, somebody's got to love them, and I appreciate you're doing the world a favor, okay? I'm not going to shame anybody here. You like what you like, as long as everybody's okay with it. That's all I'm going to say. But you can still be young and insecure, okay? I've always been somebody that's kind of secure with myself. It's just other things I have insecurity problems about. It's more internal stuff, like my personality and stuff like that. But this is not going to be my therapy session right now, so I'm not going to go into all that. But yeah, my stuff's internal. A lot of people have external. And all of that could be kind of heavy. But without a doubt, it is something we're all going to face one day. One day, we're all going to be too old to do the things we love. Or to even fuck, which is something they say in the movie. They're too old to fuck. They can't help it. Pearl wants to be desired. She was a young, beautiful woman. She was a dancer. She wanted to be a star as well. So she resonates with Maxine when she sees her. She sees something special about her. And they just keep glancing at each other from distances. The very first time that these characters see each other, beautifully done. And I had this pointed out to me. That's why I think this movie has a lot of rewatch value. You notice more and more things. So Pearl and Maxine are played by Mia Goth. My very first time watching this, I had no idea that was Mia Goth. She's under a lot of prosthetics and she's just playing this really old lady, but she wants to be beautiful. She wants to be looked at the way those girls are being looked at by their men. And even her husband couldn't even stop staring at Mia Goth. Mia Goth is a babe. All right? She is eye-catching. So, of course, she sees that. And then, of course, they're played by the same person, so it makes a lot of sense. So that's a nice set of layers right there. They're both played by the same people. You see the beginning, you see the after of age. But the first time that they glance at each other, Maxine's getting out of the van, and she's standing behind her car door. The window is rolled down, and she looks up through that. And then she sees Pearl. Pearl is standing behind windows, just staring down at her. Windows to the soul, man. They're looking at it. You see the beginning and the end. Pearl sees where she used to be. Maxine sees where she could possibly be if she doesn't get the life that she really wants, the life that she's chasing. She doesn't know if she'll ever reach that, and that's what she would be if she does it. That is great visual storytelling right there. And like I said, I had that pointed out to me. There's just so much to tackle. And because of the infatuation that Pearl starts to develop, she starts to sneak around a bit. And this is how the cat's out of the bag. She put her hand in the cookie jar. And whenever she's creeping around at night to see what they're doing in the cabin, she catches a glimpse of the Oreo in the cookie jar. She sees Jackson and Maxine getting it on. They're getting it on for the movie. And that's another thing. They're perfectly okay. They're couples. Maxine is engaged to Wayne. Wayne is the producer and director. Bobby Lynn and Jackson, they're dating. Kind of, sort of. But it really seems like, yeah, they're dating. But they're all okay with it. Because they know it's business. It's nothing personal. Sex is sex. People can love who they want to love. So, well, we're animals first. We have attractions. We can't help it. These type of things just happen. I kind of don't think we're all meant to be with one person, but some people find that. Some people find somebody and they're with them for like the rest of their lives, never touching another soul. And hey, that is beautiful. I see nothing wrong with that. That is A-okay. But I think end all be all, like down to the core, we're just animals and we're going to do what we want to do. I just hope nobody's out there hurting anybody, which I know there is. And please, if anything like that ever happens, please say something. You can be believed. Just the sooner the better. Tackle it. You know, people need to pay for these types of things, man. I'm not trying to get too serious, but sex is a serious topic. Self-love is a serious topic. Everything that this movie is about, if you dive into it, it is a serious topic. But watching this first value is just enjoyable. It's only if you go deeper that you're going to see these things and understand it. I know I'm switching it up for a bit. I'm changing how I talk about the movies. I'm not trying to go scene by scene by scene anymore because personally, I think that was boring. I'm glad I did it for movies I really, really enjoy. But it's like I actually want to talk about the movies, review them, the themes, and talk about certain moments. I want to get on those. So that's why it's a bit different than normal. I'm doing a lot more talking about other things and stuff. So if you guys enjoy that, please, let it be known, man. Interact with the polls underneath, or, share this around or rate it on Spotify, anything and everything. It's all appreciated. It's all love, man, and I really appreciate it. Now back to it. So whenever Pearl catches on of what's happening, that's when the movie takes a turn. Before that, it's just people chasing the American dream. And then it has a meta moment. This is when they've already shot a few scenes. The whole group is hanging out in the cabin. They're chilling, playing, like strumming some guitar, having some beers. And this scene has a few things going on because Lorraine, Jenna Ortega's character, she's a bit of a goody two-shoes and she doesn't talk too much. Now is when she finally really says something. She asks them, how are they okay with, swapping partners for this movie? Like if they don't believe in, like, do they not believe in love or something? And then that's when they give her the rundown, like it's all business. As long as the cameras are rolling and that happens, it's A-okay. It's all good. And what brought about that sexual curiosity? Because before she was kind of like, I'm getting the idea, the vibe that she's kind of a virgin, but all of that changed, and Pearl figuring out everything and like having another sexual awakening at the age that she's at was because they saw Maxine. Maxine, whenever they were filming that scene, everyone was feel it. They were loving what's going on. She does indeed have that X factor. It looked like she was turning on everyone. You got to see Jenna Ortega's character. She's holding the shotgun mic. She's capturing all the sounds, all the moans, all the squishiness and stuff. And she can't help but just watch and starts to like kind of smirk and smile. She's digging it. She's feeling some type of way. She got butterflies in her tummy, man. And then Pearl is outside looking through a window, getting all hot and bothered. And that motivates her whenever she goes back to her house to dress sexy. She puts on a gown. She starts putting on old makeup. She feels beautiful and she wants to. So she finally goes to her husband and she wants to try. She starts slowly, dancing, kind of lifting up the dress a little bit, trying to show some nookie. And he tells her she can't. He rejects her. And it's honestly kind of heartbreaking to see that, because you can tell she wants to be desired so badly. And that's where it takes a turn for her. Once she gets rejected, it flips a switch in her. She's just super envious of the life that they have, the beauty, the sexual prowess that all of them possess. And she just wants to kill them for it. But back to the meta moment. So when they're all there talking and Jenna Ortega asks about all that, they discuss, how they're trying to make a good dirty movie, how that it's all okay, they're all friends. It's, it's natural that they turn people on. And that's a quote from a movie. We turn people on and that scares them. And exactly. Some people are like that, dude. Same thing with and that's a deep statement. Some people who clutch their pearls, who think they're holier than thou, some people kind of like what they see, man, even though, it's just how it is. Like, I've seen videos of, like, Bible-thumping dudes on beaches trying to criticize women for wearing bikinis. And then it's like, okay, why do you care? Why are you looking, Like, what's the problem? Same way with homophobes, man. People who are homophobic, there's a lot of times you're just kind of gay, Nothing's wrong with it. If you want some sausage with a side of tater tots, hey, do you, man? If you want to get a piece of that cherry pie, yo, do you. It is okay. You don't have to be scared about the world around you, but I get it. The world is a scary place, so it's understandable. But we're only ever going to be more accepting as a species if we try to accept everything, ourselves and the people around us. Let it out, man. I'm not trying to tell you to go full Brokeback Mountain or anything, but just drink from the fountain. I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, sex is a very important topic. Okay, it really, really is. Whenever they're talking about all that, it awakens something in Lorraine. And earlier, she was called a prude for kind of judging the group by RJ, the cameraman, because she called it smut. And then he asked her, when did you become such a prude? And then this movie has a lot of reversible dialogue or double meaning. So whenever they're talking about this and everyone's having a good time, she just flat out says, I want to do a scene in the movie. And everyone just gets quiet. We look at Mia Goth's character, Maxine. She looks at Lorraine and then immediately looks over at RJ. And it's dead silent. And then RJ just kind of sort of like vomits up the word a little bit. What? And she tells him, I want to do a scene in the movie. He tells her no. And this is like an insecure moment, that like masculinity, that there was there's so much happening in the scene just from the dialogue alone. This is where he puts his foot in his mouth a little bit. He tells her, oh, we can't. And this is a very meta moment. Like, we've already shot most of the movie. We can't just change it halfway through, which this is exactly what's going to happen. Up until this point, we haven't seen anybody die or anything. The good vibes start to go down. So she's telling him, like, yeah, I want to be part of the movie. I want to be a part of this. And at this moment, this is where RJ gets pretty jealous and he's trying not to overreact or anything. But then Wayne is like, all right, we're going to talk about it because it is his movie. But then again, he doesn't want any more conflict. So Wayne excuses themselves. They go outside and they talk. And he tells him, like, look, if she really wants to do this, she's going to do it with or without you. And this is where RJ, it clicks in his head, women are sexual too. Even innocent women like Lorraine, who probably hasn't done anything, yeah, she has sexual curiosity as well. She has urges as well, and now she wants to be a part of it. But RJ starts to say more, and he goes, Wayne, she's not like the girls in there. She's a nice girl. And Wayne gets a little offended because that's his fiance and that's their friend that he's talking about. He's like, what do you mean, nice girls? Nothing's wrong with that. But then he kind of turns it around jokingly and is like, I'm going to tell you one thing. None of them are nice girls. So pretty much just saying, women can be just as horn doggish as men. It's very possible. And nothing's wrong with that. Women have the right to be sexual as well, just as sexual as men. And so he tells them that he kind of has to be okay with it in a way because it's her body, it's her choice. She has autonomy. And she's going to do it with or without his consent, because she doesn't have to. Yeah, it's not great to just tell your boyfriend right in front of everyone, hey, I kind of want to fuck this other guy on a camera for a movie. I get it. It's not great, but that's, a gray area. And Jackson is a very respectful person in this movie. Like I said, I think he's probably one of the nicer characters. He's extremely respectful. But they say it's okay, and they go film the scene, and she's taking off, her cross, like her cross necklace. She's pulling down her pants, and she has the Sunday whitey-tighty underwear. It's like she is church girl all the way. That's why they gave her the nickname Church Mouse. And you can see RJ is just not okay with this. The man looks dead inside. The soul is missing from that man. But he films everything, and then we cut to, it's nighttime, everyone's sleeping, but the only person not in bed is RJ. RJ's in the shower, and he cries. He cries in the shower. He fetal position, he crouches down. And dude, that's sad. And first time watching it, I laughed at it because I'm like, oh my god, dude, this is kind of pathetic, blah 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 blah. And then first appearance, just taking at face value, everyone was laughing at it. But if you look deep at it, he's severely hurt. He couldn't just tell her straight up, hey, this would hurt me if you did this, which I'm pretty sure if he just said that, it would have been way better. Maybe she wouldn't have done it. Maybe she would have made the choice on her own, oh yeah, I don't want to hurt you. I did want to have this experience, but I'm not going to hurt you. Who knows? They could have worked out something else. Maybe it could have just been them two on the screen. That would have been perfectly okay. But instead, because he was trying to hide that insecurity, he was saying, oh, we already shot half the movie. We can't do that. We can't just change the story halfway through. And then she throws it in his face. When did you become such a prude? He changed on that topic all because now it affected him. And so he has his own insecurity issues right there, especially with Jackson, who later in the movie, you kind of see Jackson's hung like a moose or whatever's bigger. So yeah, he kind of, I bet he kind of destroyed that. I'm not going to lie. But I mean, hey, good for them and good for him, blessed, whatever you want to say there. But RJ's had enough. He's not going to do the movie anymore. So he tries to leave in the middle of the night. And he drives off with the van. Before he could make it out the driveway, he's stopped by Pearl, just standing in the middle of the road in a nightgown. And he thinks she's confused. So he gets out, he tries to help her. Okay, we can help you find your husband. But she kind of comes on to him. And granted, that part's not okay, touching somebody without their consent. But she kind of comes on to him, and, she's trying to, kiss up on his neck. And he's kind of rejecting her, in a gross way. I'm pretty sure everyone would probably flinch if somebody older just automatically tried touching you and trying to kiss up on you, that you would probably shiver in disgust or something. But that's the point. That's what's sad, is the fact we do not find her sexually attractive, so it's not okay. If it was a younger woman that was just standing there trying to prevent him from leaving, starts touching on him and wants to do it all for the nookie, nobody's going to say anything. Nobody's going to bat an eye. A lot of people, subconsciously, everybody's going to be A-okay. They're just going to be watching it. They're not going to be laughing. But they laugh at it, and everyone laughs at it, and I laughed at it, and people, my girlfriend and I have showed this movie, they've laughed at it and chuckled, but that shows it's kind of fucked up that we think it's funny, but it's dude, that's gonna be us one day. One day that's gonna be us. We're not gonna be sexually desirable, and it's sad. But once she gets rejected by him, and he's nice about it, you know, he's just kind of like, oh, whoa, like, you know, don't, nah, let's go find your husband, you know, let's get you back inside. And she doesn't take the rejection very well, so she just stabs him in the throat, and he just falls down, just gargling, and she just gets on top of him and keeps stabbing him even more and more. And she's stabbing him so much in the neck to the point it nearly decapitates him. And the headlights are just shining on them. Blood is splattered on it. So now it's this harsh red lighting. And I love harsh red lighting. I love red lights. It's nice. I like the color red. And then harsh lighting in movies is so beautiful. But it was a beautiful scene. Oh, no, it was a beautiful looking scene. Not a beautiful scene, but yeah, it was a beautiful looking scene. And she likes what she did. She kind of gets off from it by killing him. And so she gets up and she starts dancing, because like slowly dancing, kind of like a ballerina, because she used to be a dancer. But there we go. We get the turn in the movie. The meta moment, the meta line has changed. We went from a movie about the porn industry and American Dream Chasers to now we're in this horror flick. It has completely changed from here on out. And then Lorraine wakes up. She notices RJ's gone. She goes out and starts trying to look for him. She gets Wayne up. He's just sporting this like banana hammock. Really good shape, by the way, for this guy's age. And she tells him like, oh, I think I ran him off, which most likely, yeah, that's kind of exactly what happened. You know, you slept with another dude on camera. And he's like, okay, I'll help you look for him. He's just more tired and doesn't really want to deal with it. And he talks about he doesn't want to get involved. She heads to the house. He heads to some barn. He's looking around in there. He steps on a nail. So he's bleeding out from his foot. He's trying to find her. And then he notices some movement from behind the barn. So he crawls over there trying to look through some holes. And then he just gets like, I don't know what it's called, like a pick thingy or whatever, like that you use to pick up like cow shit and to sort hay and stuff like that. He gets stabbed in the eyes and it just yanks it out. Really good practical effects, by the way, in this movie. Great practical effects. I will forever praise practical effects. CGI isn't a bad thing, but I prefer practical. So now Wayne is dead, and Jenna runs into Howard, and Howard kind of lures her inside. It's like, oh, you know, we can go find them. My wife is missing too. She gets confused at night, and so like we can look together. So he gets her inside, and it's like, oh, you know, there's a light in the cellar or something. Just go down there. And whenever she finally goes down there, she gets locked in. And then, creepy ass fucking moment, man, that lets you know these people, these old people are so fucked, man. You see that there is a guy hanging, like strung up from the ceiling, like with his arms strung up. And he's naked. He has his pants pulled down and you see his dong and stuff. He is dead, and he looks like he's been dead for a while. They were using him as a sex slave. And this is where we get incredible scream from Jenna Ortega that I think they played in the trailers. This is Scream Queen material, which I think she is definitely a Scream Queen. And she freaks out, tries to go back up. That's when she notices she's locked in. And then now we're back at the cabin again. And you see like people are missing. And Pearl is getting in the bed after she took off her nightgown. She still has bloody hands. She's getting in the bed with Maxine. Maxine is still asleep, and she's like rubbing on her. She is, I guess, just very, very infatuated with Maxine. Maxine wakes up and notices her, and she screams. Another great Scream Queen moment. Her scream was phenomenal as well. She screams. It wakes up Bobby Lynn. Pearl just leaves. You know, she's in a daze. She's leaving butt-ass naked, by the way. And she's on this dock, or like this pier. And Bobby Lynn still doesn't really know what's going on. All these things are happening, and not a lot of people know what is going on exactly. Bobby Lynn goes and finds her, and she tries to help her. You know, she's like, hey, you know, it's okay if you got confused. You know, my grandmother used to do the same thing. She gives her a blanket to cover up because she's cold, she's naked, and she's so sweet. And it's like, you know, I thought about getting into nursing. Like, it's okay, let's try to get you back. And then Pearl just smacks the shit out of her and just goes, you're a whore, like you have all this and you think you're all that. And then that's when Bobby Lynn just like, okay, whatever, just because you didn't have the life you wanted doesn't mean you have to be a bitch. or whatever. Like, it's not my fault you didn't get the life you wanted. And that smart ass Southern mouth right there, that gets her shoved right into the fucking pond. And the gator from over yonder that we saw earlier in the movie, I didn't talk about it, but yeah, that gator done bit her and ate her ass up like a chicken wing. So like she gets ate up, by an alligator. And while all that's happening, I believe a little before, I might have skipped ahead a little bit. Jackson, he was up, he was drinking, This is where we see his dong. He's just walking around butt ass naked trying to get some milk in the middle of the night, which who doesn't do that? I do that from time to time. But it's a little colder, so it's like not everything's exactly how it seems on my end. But I keep it cold in my apartment. But he hears a knock at the door, and it's Howard. Howard tells him, hey, like my wife gets confused at night. He uses the same thing, like you help me find her. But there was this kind of a kinship. It's kind of one-sided from Jackson to Howard, because he respects him because, one, he is older. He's very respectful to his elders, but because he's also served in the war, and Jackson was a Marine in Vietnam. I think he did 2 tours. And he's like, hey, once a Marine, always a Marine. I'll help you find your wife. If she's out here, I'll find her. So they go looking around in some swamp area. And it's so sad, man, because he was really just trying to help. He looked around, couldn't find her. And he was concerned for Howard whenever he noticed Howard's flashlight in the water. He immediately goes in, tries to find him. And whenever he comes back after he couldn't find him, he runs into him again. And Howard just accuses him of enticing his wife, getting her all worked up and like teasing her and stuff. And Jackson's just like, yeah, okay. And he gets shot right in the chest, with a shotgun. Like my dude just gets taken out like nothing. And it's so sad that all these people died because they're all good characters. Nothing's wrong with any of them. And another thing, Ty West, man, he does a phenomenal job. All of these deaths are foreshadowed. I'm gonna go through them. I'm gonna go through like how these people are dying first before I talk about how they're foreshadowed in the movie. But after that happens, we go back in the house. Maxine's there, and she hears Lorraine, and she lets her. She gets her out of the basement, and Lorraine is just like, fuck you guys. You guys got me into this. Like, I don't want nothing to do with this. So she runs out and just gets shotgun blasted in the face. Immediately taken out as soon as she runs out the front door. And Maxine's still hiding. But Pearl and Howard are trying to move Lorraine's body because they want it to look like the Stand Your Ground law. That, it was probably home invaders, that's kind of exactly what Texas Chainsaw was back in the day. It was just home invaders, technically. People who went in when they shouldn't. So they were trying to make it seem like that, so they're justified in them killing all these people. And while they're going to pick up Lorraine, it scares Howard, and he has a heart attack because he does have a bad heart. So he dies right then and there. And Maxine sees her moment, and she runs up, and she has this revolver that's from the glove compartment. That's Wayne's gun. But the thing is, it has no bullets in it. So she tries to shoot Pearl, and Pearl has that shotgun. And the moment she lets a shot off, Pearl, and it's hilarious, Pearl goes flying. Like the kickback on that was like a mule. She just goes flying through the screen door, and she like breaks her hip out on the dirt road. And so she's kind of immobilized. And her and Pearl, like she's talking all this shit to Maxine. You're going to be just like me. This is what you're going to grow up to be. You're never going to be anything. You're not special, so on and so forth. But Maxine has had enough. She's done. So she just gets in the van and just runs over Pearl's head and just drives off in the middle of the night. So that's all the deaths right now. But we're going to go through how they're foreshadowed because it's done incredibly well. So we're going to go with Bobby Lynn's first. The first time we see Bobby Lynn, she walks out of the strip club, and there's this huge mural that has a girl in her underwear, and it's getting pulled on by an alligator. She walks through that, and the section of the door is like the alligator's mouth. So really great there. And it's also kind of funny, another layer to that is Brittany Snow is from Florida. So it's oddly poetic that she died by an alligator. I dig that. As a local Florida man myself, that's kind of gnarly. Do I want to die that way? Fuck no. Why the hell would I want to do that? But that's pretty cool nonetheless. And then we had Jackson, Kid Cudi's character. Whenever he first met Howard, he tells him how he served in Vietnam and he's had enough farmers try to shoot him for a lifetime. And he does die by Howard, who is a farmer, and he gets shot by a shotgun. You have Wayne. Wayne, he's super excited about the film and he loves everything that they're filming. And I believe he tells RJ, he's like, the moment when these people see this movie, their eyes are gonna pop right out of their skulls. And his eyes get taken out of his skull, both of them, and it's gnarly. It gets taken out by Pearl. You got Pearl, who breaks her hip. Now, earlier it was hinted at whenever Howard went to Jackson about trying to find her, that he's worried because it's dark. She could fall and break her hip somewhere, and that's exactly what she does. And with Howard was predicted as well about the whole heart attack, because whenever they first met him and he notices all the people, and Lorraine questions Wayne saying, "Oh, he doesn't know what we're doing here, does he?" And he said, "No, I don't want to give the old man a heart attack. Do you?" And it's Lorraine, who's dead, whose body twitches, that scares Howard into a heart attack. So that's gnarly. And then, what do you call it? And then we have Lorraine, who, this one's a bit of a twofer. So, Lorraine, she's known as Church Mouse. She's very quiet in the first half of the movie. And she's just a sound person. She's the person holding the shotgun mic. And whenever she does get killed, she's killed by a shotgun. And by this time, around her death, because she was injured whenever she was trying to break out of the cellar the first time, her hand was broken by a hammer by Howard. So she's wailing and screaming, and whenever she's finally let out by Maxine, she's running and is like, "Fuck you guys," blah, 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 blah. And so she's running, screaming out, and then gets shotgunned right in the mouth and just dies. So that's a bit of a double whammy right there. So really great writing all around, but man, there's just so much to this movie, man. There was even a moment where Brittany Snow's character, Bobby Lynn, she's singing Fleetwood Mac's song Landslide, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows that song. It's all about like, children get older, I'm getting older. That song, very sad song, it's very existential as well. But whenever they're sitting around the cabin and she's singing that, we have this side-by-side shot where she's singing and it's looking at everyone. They're all youthful and enjoying their time. But you just had Pearl, who was rejected by her husband after she put on makeup and God knows how long and tried to dress sexy for her husband to only get rejected. You see both sides of it. You see the happy youth, but then you see the older group just kind of sad and and lonely. So it's a very touching moment. Honestly, it's incredibly sad. Like this movie is gonna make you reflect on how you look at things. Honestly, it's making me look at older people now too, because of this. Is because like, oh yeah, you think of older people like, oh yeah, they're not doing anything. Like it's gross. Or if they did, like, oh, it's even grosser, man. But no, we all have needs. We age, we get old, we still want things. We want to have a life. There's a lot of people who would want to live not forever, but a long time, who want to stay young and fit and enjoy the lives that they want to lead, and they don't get to do that. You even get to see 2 sex scenes with the young people. And thing is, in your mind, and I know this is going to be for everybody, because I feel like nobody's brain is completely wired for the point that this movie's going to make. Unless like maybe you're older. I don't know. You might look at it differently, but I'm in my mid-20s. When I see the young people having sex, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, okay, normal sex scene in a horror movie. Sure. I'm here, like I'm not really batting an eye. Pretty steamy, cool. But then later you get to see a sex scene with Howard and Pearl. he finally musters up the courage or the strength to satisfy his wife. And this was before like most of the killings. This is in between whenever he finds her in the cabin after Maxine ran off scared. A lot of people chuckled at it. Even my parents watching this movie, and yes, I watched this movie with my parents. It's definitely fucking a little weird, but it was honestly funny. I don't really give a shit. My parents know I'm completely sex positive. I'm all for everyone doing what they want to do. I don't have to know details of anybody else's shit. But even they chuckled at it like, oh, ew, gross. And the thing is, it's like everyone did that. Everyone thought, oh, dude, it's gross, or haha, it's kind of funny. It's old people fucking. But it's like that's gonna be you one day. That's gonna be all of us one day. One day we're gonna be so old that we can't fuck, or that we can't enjoy what we want to enjoy anymore. It's not even just sex, but of course, sex is the main topic of this movie. Because here in America, sex is taboo, but then it's not. It's in your face consistently, but it's also very taboo to talk about. It's weird. America is so weird about it. It's like, oh no, don't talk about it. It's not a thing. But then again, it's plastered everywhere. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm pretty sure everyone can pick up on what I'm putting down. But this movie, it's very rich in themes. There's so much going on. There's really good commentary on multiple topics, and all the characters are super likable. I think it's a really, really good film. It is definitely one of my favorite recent horror movies. It introduced me to Mia Goth, who is now a celebrity crush of mine. I know my girlfriend doesn't like it, but hey, Karen, I love you. I love you so much. If in case you are listening to this, everyone has celebrity crushes, but yeah, everything was great, man. It was well written, very well done, well shot, beautiful shots in this movie. All around, everyone did phenomenal. I cannot wait for Maxine, and I'm curious what that one's going to tackle, because you get to see a little bit of Maxine's backstory, just a little bit. She says these quotes throughout the movie, and also throughout the movie, you see like this priest figure or something like this, a religious spokesman on the radio or on a TV, and you hear him saying, like, like, we will not accept a life that we don't deserve, or so on and so forth, like, things like that. I can't remember everything he says, but you get to see this. And then at the end of the movie, whenever she's driving off into the night, we see that he says, his daughter's missing, that she ran away, and that the life of sin, pulled her, like the devil was talking in her ear or something, and, she went off to live a sinful life and stuff like that. It's talking about, those strict religious values that get forced onto people that makes them turn away from God or certain lifestyles. It's something that's definitely happened to me. I was raised in both a Catholic and Christian home. I don't like either. I'm not a religious person. I'm just all about the good vibes and being here for people. I respect other people's stuff. I have my quarrels with religion here and there, but I know it helps people, so I'm not super against it. It's whatever you want to do, whatever helps you. But forcing it on people, like, I don't believe in forcing it on children or anything like that. I'm not trying to get super political, but I definitely think those are things that should not happen. Everyone should grow up and make their own choices. Thing is, sometimes being super strict and forcing ideologies on people, you do the exact opposite of what you're trying to do, or you just create a very miserable and damaged person. It's a losing game, like, I don't know. I feel like nobody really wins. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of that come back in Maxine. And I'm so excited. I wonder what we're going to be, because Pearl came out a couple months, or less than a year after X. And it followed, of course, Mia Goth playing the young Pearl and how she was and what she had to deal with. And that's probably a video for another time. But this trilogy, it's tackling some themes, and it's doing them very well. And I'm looking forward to see what's next. That's going to be all the movie. It's a very simple, straightforward movie if you just watch it like that. But like I said, if you look back and you look at these themes and you analyze it a bit more, there's a lot there. There's a lot to take away, and it is a beautiful, it's a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful horror movie. It's a smart horror movie. I guess you would say this would categorize as the elevated horror. I highly recommend to watch it. Either watch it by yourself, watch it with a friend, anybody. It's a blast to watch. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please interact somehow, share, interact with the polls down below, or anything at all. I would really appreciate it. Giving it a rating on Spotify, anything at all. It would mean so much to me. But before I let you guys go, I want to give you guys another fortune cookie. And here we go. Unbecome everything that isn't you, and become everything that is. Do with that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. But until next time, be excellent, be kind, subscribe to the podcast.